Hi, Ed Chicoine here, coming to you as the Healthy Grandpa, and working with my longevity prep wellness program. Today we're going to talk about something that's called HIIT. Some people pronounce it HIIT. It's high intensity interval training. When I came back from my run across Canada and the US with my kids, I was 57 years old, as I mentioned in previous videos. I really looked into what we need to do to create this healthy longevity. And I was looking at alternatives because I didn't want to continue doing this long distance running we were doing. And HIIT came up, especially this study done at the University of Laval. It was actually done back in the late 90s. They took two groups of people, fit people. One group did 45 minutes of cardio, treadmill, traditional, at high intensity, about 80% intensity, so it's pretty intense. The other group did 7 minutes of high intensity interval training using a stationary bike. And they looked at the results from that. The people who did the treadmill, 45 minutes, actually burnt more calories, but the group that did 7 minutes of HIIT burnt more fat. So that really piqued my interest. And then I delved into it and started experimenting with that. I found out that it was an amazing way to create a workout because you can actually work your muscles, do resistance training, body weight exercise as part of the HIIT. Because when I was running long distance, running marathons and all that, you don't build muscle. You lose fat. You don't have fat, you're skinny, but you don't build muscle. So I knew that to create a healthy longevity, the more muscle mass you have, as I mentioned in my previous video, it's a great way to improve your chances of having a long and healthy life. Because muscle is an organ, remember? And it has so many benefits. What exactly is HIIT? It's doing an activity at high intensity for at least 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes if you wish, depending on what your goal is and depending on what your level of fitness is, and then resting afterwards for 1, 2, 3 minutes, whatever it takes to get you back to a state where you can repeat that same activity at the same intensity. And you repeat that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times for about between 15 and 20 minutes, and you're done. You created an amazing workout. And the benefits of HIIT are, as I mentioned before, you maintain muscle mass. You can actually improve muscle strength and mass, which is great. You save time because in 15 to 20 minutes, you can do the equivalent of somebody on a treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour as far as the benefits for fat loss. Your cardiovascular system improves. Your blood sugar regulation is better because it improves insulin sensitivity. There are so many benefits, especially for people who want to lose that fat, the weight, without requiring lots of time and lots of effort. It is effort, but it's not that big of a deal. Anybody can do this. You can start at your level. It's very versatile. Even somebody who's never exercised in their lives can start using the same principles. As long as you exert, you have to get your heart rate up. You have to get to the point of high exertion, almost to the point where you have a difficulty talking when you're doing that 30 seconds to a minute to 2 minutes, whatever level you're at. And then you rest. And even if you rest for 4 minutes and you repeat, that's still okay, as long as you're getting repetition of that exertion. And in the beginning, you can do that 3 or 4 times and you're good. And over time, you'll be able to get to the level where you will be able to do 15 to 20 minutes and exert more effort and get faster, whether you're on a bicycle in the wintertime. I use an Airdyne, the stationary bike. I like it because it moves the arms and the legs and has a timer, and I can easily regulate and do my workouts on that. As I said, you feel great afterwards. So what I want to show today is some examples of body weight exercise where you increase strength and resistance and at the same time get the cardio in there. But first of all, before I do that, I always do a warm-up. There's 4 stretches, 4 movements that I do that allows my joints to loosen up so I don't injure myself. The first one's a squat. I do the traditional squat. I do 20 of those. Then I loosen up my shoulders, especially if I'm going to be doing weights and certain activities like I'm going to be doing today. So I do this movement, again, 20 times, this 20 times, and then this 20 times. I repeat that 3 times. It's a great warm-up, and I feel much more ready after I've done that. And then I get into the HIIT. And the first thing I do, I start out with the most intense. I do my own version of modified burpees. After I've done 50 of those burpees, I need to catch my breath. But while I'm catching my breath, I'll do another activity. For example, do lunges. While I'm catching my breath, which would be my rest period if I was on a stationary bike. Okay? After that, I usually do pull-ups. And this is what I use. I hang this on the door. At home, I hang it on the bathroom door. Sometimes my wife doesn't like it. And I do my pull-ups from there. I can do this way, and I can also do this way. So I'm adapting using different muscle groups. And I'll do at least 15 of these pull-ups. After I've done that, that's not very much exertion for your cardiovascular system. Then I will do mountain climbers. And I've shown that in my abdominal muscle video. But this time, I do it fast. And I'll do 75 of these, 75 on each leg. So it's like to get to the point where I've exerted myself. So after that, there's a bit of exertion there. So I do another rest period, if you will. So this time I might do this, where I have a chair at home. It gives me time to catch my breath, and I'm still doing some exercises when I do that. So that's a good one to do as well. And after I've done that, I'll often do push-ups. I like to use these little tools because I can vary where so I'll do 50 of those. And then after that, I might do jumping jacks. Usually do 100 of those. What's the other thing I could be doing? Using a kettlebell. Just do 20 on each side. That's round 1. Round 2, I will do my burpees again. I don't think I showed the burpees. But anyway, this is how I do my burpees. I actually start off with that. I'll do 50 of those. And that one requires a little more exertion. That's a great one to get my heart rate up. While I do that, I try to breathe strictly through my nose as well. It's very good practice. Once I've done that, I repeat the same cycle that I just mentioned before. The lunges and the push-ups, the step-ups, pull up again. And the whole thing takes me less than 20 minutes. And that is an amazing workout. Just doing that alone, you maintain your weight, you lose fat, you increase your cardiovascular endurance, your resilience. Everything improves when you do that. And again, just to reiterate that this is very versatile. You can adapt it to your level. Sometimes I've had people, just my warm-up was all they could do. And that's awesome. That's great. You start with that. And then eventually you can get into some of these activities. Even if you just do one push-up or one pull-up or half a pull-up, it doesn't matter. You're exerting to where you're at. You're telling your brain, okay, I'm putting more resistance. I need more endurance here. And you improve. It's amazing how your body adapts to the level of exercise that you're at. And you will improve over time. This is what I wanted to show you today. The versatility of HIIT and how you can adapt. And anybody can do this anywhere. I do it mostly in my bedroom. And stay tuned for another video in the future about other aspects of exercises that I do. So I hope you find this helpful. I've received a few comments from people who are hoping to create better health and weight management. If you like it, please leave a comment. I find that very helpful so I know if this is helping you or not. And please share with others if you find this valuable. And stay tuned for future videos where I'll cover nutrition and other principles of exercise, always with the goal of creating that healthy longevity. And always remember, create that mindset, that inner story that you have that this is possible. You just need to start, just need to be persistent. And I guarantee you, when you do this consistently, you're going to love it so much that it will become part of your routine and you're going to want to do this regularly. For me, exercise is a no-brainer. I cannot live without doing exercise. I'm at that point because I've been doing this for a major part of my life. It's amazing to feel great in your 70s, no limitations, and it's awesome. All right, thanks and talk to you later.